My sister-in-law, Ruyan, was sitting on the sofa in my house, constantly watching videos about making money as a home decor blogger. She said that in the high school she was admitted to, only poor students from remote and backward areas would live in the dormitory. If she also lived in the dormitory, she would surely be looked down upon. She made her own decision, and came to the city to seek refuge with me. She said that a friend she met online recommended a house to her, which was both inexpensive and beautiful. The house that my mother-in-law and I had previously put a great deal of effort into finding for her was flatly rejected by her. The house I found online is much better than the ones you found. The shabby and small peasant houses you found are even worse than the pigsty in our hometown. Boastfully, she held up the house viewing video with the filter and wide-angle fully turned on in front of us and waved it. Look, this is the kind of place where people should live. My mother-in-law turned her inquiring gaze towards me. Xiao Xian, do you think it's reliable? I stared at her blankly, and all the memories of my past life came flooding back. At that time, my mother-in-law also asked me like this. In my previous life, after I married into their family, my husband was dispatched on a business trip to the north. The person closest to them was me, who was working in the provincial capital. They would turn to me whenever they encountered any problems. Since I was an orphan from a young age, I desperately longed to experience the warmth of a family. I would unconditionally fulfill any requests that my mother-in-law and sister-in-law had for me. I took care of them wholeheartedly. I could tell that the house Ruyan found was a renovated string house, and I tried my best to stop her. Such string houses are all renovated houses decorated by unscrupulous landlords with the cheapest decoration materials, and the formaldehyde content seriously exceeds the standard. Once one moves in, it will cause infinite harm. At the least, it will lead to dizziness and vomiting, and at the worst it may exacerbate leukemia. I patiently explained to them why they couldn't live there, and even added some money to find them a nice house in a good location. Ruyan was not very willing, but she couldn't resist my mother-in-law, and obediently moved into the house I found for them. However, what I didn't expect was that after Ruyan moved in, although there was nothing wrong with her physical health, her heart was completely corrupted. Her academic performance plummeted. She made some bad friends, and she kept asking my mother-in-law for money in various ways, and often stayed out all night. Once, my mother-in-law chased after her in the middle of the night, and accidentally fell, and was taken to the hospital. Not only did she never visit her once, she also said brazenly, "It's your fault for finding that shabby house. It made my mother fall. If we had lived in the apartment I found, there would have been all kinds of supporting facilities. How could my mother have suffered like this?" She blamed all her misfortunes on the fact that the house I found for her was not good. She said that I had a grudge against her. She kept saying it day in and day out. Finally, when I invited them to my house for a festival, Ruyan stabbed me to death with the fake eyelashes she had just put on. My mother-in-law wanted to call 120, but it wasn't because she wanted to save me. This worthless woman, if she's dead, she's dead. But Ruyan, you can't get involved in a manslaughter case. Ruyan stopped her mother and said, "I'm a minor. Even if it's discovered, what can anyone do to me? Moreover, she's just an orphan. Besides us, who cares whether she's alive or dead? Isn't my brother dating a wealthy woman in the south? You're not short of a daughter-in-law." My mother-in-law slowly put down her phone, and watched as I completely lost my breath. After my death, my husband led a carefree life with his new wife. My mother-in-law used my savings and insurance money to accompany and support Ruyan to study abroad. Ruyan transformed into a beautiful overseas study blogger overnight, boasting millions of followers, and indulging in a life of luxury and hedonism every day. As for me, not a trace of my body remained. My ashes were mixed into the pig feed, eaten by fat pigs, and turned into a stinking pile of pig manure. This was the very family I had treated with all my heart and soul. They were like a pack of ruthless beasts. I looked at my mother-in-law's eager gaze and forced a smile. "Mom, this house is for you and Ruyan to live in. Of course, we should listen to Ruyan." Only then did Ruyan put down her phone and look at my mother directly. "Sister-in-law, you believe what I said, right?" My mother-in-law nodded repeatedly, and I also nodded in feigned satisfaction. I was determined to see what kind of outcome they would have if they managed to move into the so-called string house they had been longing for. "You surely believe what your sister-in-law said, don't you?" My mother-in-law nodded continuously, and I also nodded with apparent satisfaction. I was eager to see what kind of end they would meet after getting their wish to move into the string house they had been yearning for. A few days later, I accompanied them to the string house. The real estate agent talked endlessly, praising the excellent location, the favorable layout, and the affordable price of the house. The real estate agent rambled on, extolling the house's prime location, desirable floor plan and reasonable price. However, as soon as we entered the house, a pungent smell assailed our nostrils. I couldn't help but cough twice. My mother-in-law, who had suffered from rhinitis for years, showed no reaction. Ruyan was even more overjoyed and completely indifferent to the smell. She exclaimed, "Mom, this is simply my dream house." I swept my eyes around. The decoration of the house was a common-in style on the internet. There were gray-patterned floor tiles, color-blocked curtains, and sofas in low saturation. There were white cabinets and tables. On the walls of the living room and the rooms, there were several gaudy paintings hanging. Everywhere was neatly tidied up. Even the plastic wrap on the mattress hadn't been torn off. My mother-in-law was amazed. "This house is so clean. It's so bright. Is it really only 800 yuan? Are there no other fees?" The real estate agent nodded vigorously. "Absolutely no other fees. This is a newly built house for rent. It's all newly decorated. If the landlord wasn't in a hurry to rent it out because he's away, how could it be so cheap? You've really got a great deal." When we asked about the water and electricity fees, we were told that electricity was 1 yuan per kilowatt hour, and water was 5 yuan per ton, which seemed to be a normal price. My mother-in-law was completely reassured. I looked at the grade 5 energy consumption labels on the unbranded air conditioner and refrigerator and remained silent. Appliances with grade 5 energy consumption could cost more in a month in terms of electricity bills than the rent itself. Ruyan was chatting animatedly with the real estate agent, and it seemed that they were about to sign the contract soon. At this moment, my mother-in-law came over with a smile and took my hand. "Xiao Xian, you live in an apartment allocated to you for free by the school. I heard you also have Housing Provident Fund. Can you take it out and use it?" "Oh, so they have their eyes on my Housing Provident Fund now. You've set your sights on my Housing Provident Fund already." In my previous life, he also said this. I told him that my Housing Provident Fund was reserved for buying a house. He seemed a bit displeased. It was not until I said that I would pay extra money to rent a house for them that he smiled. Then, under the pretext of cooking for me, he used the money I gave to buy expensive meat and cooked dishes that Ruyan liked. My mother-in-law picked a large piece of spare rib for me. Ruyan started whining at the dinner table. Due to my people-pleasing personality, I eagerly picked all the spare ribs for Ruyan, saying that she needed to eat more for her health. My mother-in-law smiled happily and said that we were really a loving family. Looking back now, I was truly a complete fool, being deceived by them in the name of family affection. I looked at my mother-in-law sincerely and said, "Mom, when I save my Housing Provident Fund for a certain period, the points can be used to transfer the household registration. Then I can transfer Nianyans and my household registration to the city. It will be beneficial for the college entrance examination. We should look at the long-term development, right?" My mother-in-law's eyes lit up. "These points can help Nianyan in the college entrance examination?" "Yes. The money I'm saving now will also be used to help Nianyan buy a house in the future. I'm his sister-in-law, and I need to prepare a dowry for him." My mother-in-law grinned widely, happily rubbing my hands. Good. Ruyan is really lucky to have a sister-in-law like you." Then she said that such a nice house was hard to come by. Since Ruyan was going to study in high school for 3 years, it would be better to sign a 3-year lease to avoid renewing the lease later. Ruyan was of course willing. The real estate agent even encouraged my mother-in-law to rent it for 3 years. Renting for 3 years would require a much larger deposit. My mother-in-law turned her pleading eyes to me again. I said understandingly to my mother-in-law, "Mom, doesn't Ruyan have a card with you for you to save money for her? Use her card. She loves Nianyan so much. She won't be reluctant to spend this little money. Don't worry. I'll support you if there's anything." My mother-in-law finally no longer hesitated. I took out a pen even faster than the real estate agent and asked my mother-in-law to sign. The moment my mother-in-law pressed her fingerprint, the real estate agent and I exchanged a knowing look. Then I made an excuse and quickly left. As for that string house, I didn't dare to inhale a single extra breath of that precious formaldehyde. I was afraid that if I inhaled too much, Ruyan would charge me for it. That night, I received a call from my husband Ruyan. "Xiao Xian, was it you who told Ruyan to rent for 3 years? So much money was swiped from my bank card. Are you crazy?" I turned on the speakerphone and looked aggrieved. "Honey, when we rented together before, moving around was so tiring. Ruyan is going to study in high school for 3 years. How could you bear to see Mom, who is so old, keep moving back and forth?" Ruyan became impatient. "Then you should pay for it." Mom swiped my card. "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been embarrassed today." "What happened today?" I asked gently. Ruyan stopped answering, and instead accused me of making decisions without permission. I let his words go in one ear and out the other. Anyway, someone was more anxious than me. My mother-in-law snatched my phone. "Xiao Xian, I'll scold him for you." She pulled Ruyan into the room. I pretended to wash the dishes and leaned against the door to eavesdrop. "Ruyan, why are you yelling? The money was spent on your sister. We're family, not on Xiao Xian." "Mom, you don't know. I met a wealthy woman here. She saw the Gofei Donxin and asked me why I spent so much money. It was so hard for me to fob her off." My mother-in-law gasped. "Oh really? Then Mom will be more careful next time. And don't quarrel with Xiao Xian. She said today that she wants to save money to buy a house for Ruyan. You need to please both sides. Well, I'm counting on you for the rest of my life. And me. Ruyan coquettishly shouted into the phone. Okay. In the future, you two find ways to spend more of Chow Xian's money. She has a soft heart, and is the easiest to get money from. I'm really short of money here. Got it. What a happy family of 3 in the room, happily plotting how to skin me, drink my blood and break my bones. If it weren't for the fact that I'm now living in an apartment allocated by the school and outsiders are not allowed to stay for a long time, they might have kicked me out and taken over my place. But I no longer cared. Looking down at the money for the share that the real estate agent had transferred to me as previously agreed, I smiled slightly. After Ruyan moved into the string house, she went on a crazy shopping spree to decorate the house, and kept posting updates on social media. Finally moved into my dream house. Watch me turn it into a perfect place little by little. Housing vlog. A happy day for a would-be high school girl. The sun shines into the bedroom. A vibrant day starts with living in a nice house. Throughout the whole summer vacation, she never picked up a book. With the persona of a 15-year-old genius girl home decor blogger. Occasionally someone commented that she lived in a string house. She got angry and quarreled with them, saying that netizens were jealous of her nice house, and were maggots in the gutter. When someone got serious and quarreled with her, she couldn't win and turned around and deleted all the comments she didn't like, leaving only unanimous praise. Wow, the house your sister lives in is so beautiful. She must be beautiful and kind-hearted. The blogger has great taste. I really want to be friends with such a tasteful blogger. I liked a few of her posts with a fake account. Fortunately, she was so brainless that she rejected all the advice given to her, saving me a lot of trouble. Let her immerse herself in the dream of formaldehyde, and live in a drunken stupor. 1 month after moving into the string house, Ruyan was about to start school, but her face was covered with many red and swollen pimples. My mother-in-law went back to the village to buy some traditional Chinese medicine for Ruyan. After drinking it, she vomited and had diarrhea. The two of them came to me again, hoping that I could use my medical insurance to take Ruyan to the hospital in the city. In my previous life, they were so stupid. When Ruyan had a cold, she saw on the internet that medical insurance could be used, but she didn't know that it could only be used by immediate family members. She said that if I didn't let her use it, I was deliberately trying to harm her. I couldn't explain it to them clearly, so I had to take her to the hospital at my own expense. For a simple cold, Ruyan insisted on registering for an expensive specialist appointment, and made up a lot of illnesses for herself. She really ripped me off at the hospital. It was not until before I died that I found out that she had faked being sick many times to go to the hospital to get medicine. In fact, she was engaged in the business of reselling sick leave notes and medicines to her classmates. I took care of her day and night many times, running around for her constant minor illnesses. I cooked all kinds of tonic soups for her, being more attentive to her than my mother-in-law. Even if I didn't give her money, I gave her enough psychological care. But her greed knew no bounds, and she actually stabbed me to death viciously. If you hadn't meddled and stopped me from living in that beautiful house, how could I have failed to become a home decor blogger, and failed to integrate into the rich circle at school? Until now, I can only do odd jobs for them. If I had moved in from the beginning, my status at school would have reached the top by now. It turned out that all my efforts to find a good house for her were seen by her as blocking her good days. She thought it was me who prevented her from becoming a superior person. All the care and attention I had given her over the years didn't get a bit of gratitude from her, but only her viciousness. I had known Ruyan for 10 years, and watched Ruyan grow from 7 years old to 17 years old, from being shorter than my shoulder to being half a head taller than me. Eventually, I died at her hands. Just thinking about it made my heart ache. Of course I knew why Ruyan had so many pimples. Excessive inhalation of formaldehyde can cause endocrine disorders, especially since she was in adolescence. I didn't agree to take her to the hospital to be a fool. I said that a friend in the hospital had given me medicine for free for Ruyan. Ruyan stayed in my apartment for a few days. As soon as she used the medicine, the pimples stopped growing. She happily asked me to get more medicine, but she didn't know that the so-called medicine was just normal saline. As long as she didn't live in the string house, the self-repairability of her skin at her age was still very strong. But as soon as her skin got a little better, she set her eyes on my expensive skincare products. Every time she secretly used them when I wasn't looking, slathering them on her face in large amounts. Of course I didn't mind. I even generously gave her the remaining skincare products. After all, they were expired. Formaldehyde and expired skincare products. I wish her face double the fun. At the same time, on social media, she endorsed some unbranded acne-removing advertising products. She vowed that her face getting better was because of these products. Her fans should quickly place orders and use them with her. She also said that she was about to start school and wanted to welcome her beautiful high school life with a flawless face. I laughed. I also wanted to know how wonderful the start of her high school career would be in this life. 1 month after the start of school, my mother-in-law came to me with a worried look. She coughed intermittently and said that Ruyan's monthly exam results had come out. Unlike her outstanding performance in the high school entrance examination, this time she didn't even reach the passing line. What should we do? She's only in the first year of high school and she failed. She's always posting pictures of the house online and constantly renovating the house. She seems possessed. Do you think she was led astray by people online? I couldn't help but sneer. She led astray the kids online, not the other way around. She copied other bloggers' copywriting every day and recommended products that she had never used. I wonder if the netizens she deceived are okay. My mother-in-law was so anxious that she was pacing back and forth and begged me again. Xiao Xin, you're a teacher. Please give Ruyan some tutoring. 2 or 3 hours a day is enough. It's not much. I was so shocked by her brazenness that I kept shaking my head. Mom, I teach primary school. The school Ruyan was admitted to is a key high school. How could I teach her? My mother-in-law came up with another idea. Then you're both teachers. You go and give Ruyan's class teacher some gifts, and ask him to take more care of Ruyan. I was speechless. Giving gifts to public school teachers was undoubtedly ruining their teaching career. I sighed. Mom, it's not that I don't want to help Ruyan. It's the house she chose herself. She likes to post these things online. I can't stop her. Mom, weren't you also very satisfied with the house at the beginning? Why didn't you persuade her? My mother-in-law said sheepishly. Ruyan doesn't listen to me. I also told Ruyan, and he also told me to come to you to find a solution. I don't know what's wrong. Since I moved into this house, I often feel dizzy cough, and my throat is very dry. Why don't you take me to the hospital to have a look? I directly interrupted her. I took out the expired relabeled cold medicine, and a few hundred yuan that I had prepared in advance. Mom, why didn't you say so earlier? Your acclimatization is really serious. I just happened to prepare some medicine. You take it. If you feel uncomfortable in the future, come to me. And be sure to eat well. Don't worry if you don't have enough money. Come to me to get it. My mother-in-law immediately beamed with joy, and stopped talking about Lu Ruyan's grades. She took the money and the medicine and left. Not long after, the phone call from Lu Ruyan's class teacher came to my phone. She had fought with several of her classmates, not just one. When she called my mother-in-law and no one answered, she could only call me. After not seeing her for a month, Lu Ruyan, who had moved back to the string house, and was using expired skincare products again, had a face full of pimples. Her face was sallow, her eyes were full of bloodshot eyes, and even a rash had appeared on her neck. The little girls she fought with were all pouting, looking very unconvinced. They were angry because they were invited by Lu Ruyan to play in the string house. Soon they felt dizzy and wanted to go home. Lu Ruyan got angry, thinking that they had no taste, and looked down on her carefully decorated house. She cursed them. Once at school, it was Lu Ruyan's turn to be attacked by everyone. She boasted every day at school that she was a home decor blogger. In fact, it was nothing special. What a shabby decoration. It's so cheap that it gives me a headache. How could Lu Ruyan stand this kind of humiliation? Lu Ruyan fought against 7 or 8 people alone, and was severely beaten. Her head teacher earnestly told me that Lu Ruyan's grades had plummeted to the bottom. She didn't think about how to improve her grades all day long, but only dreamed of getting rich as a blogger. I apologized to those people on behalf of Lu Ruyan, and compensated them with some money I had swindled from her brother last time. Then I took Lu Ruyan away. Along the way, Lu Ruyan kept telling me how disgusting those girls were, using extremely vicious words. It was hard for me to imagine that these words came from a 15-year-old child. I really couldn't stand it anymore and interrupted her. Ruyan, it's no use telling me these things. I have to go to work and can't handle so many of your affairs. Mom is free. You can talk to her more. Aren't you also a blogger online? Your sister-in-law is very open-minded and won't control you like Mom and your brother. I support whatever you do. I showered her with a series of flattering words, expressing my full support with both hands and feet for her to stick to the path of being a home decor blogger. Lu Ruyan immediately became arrogant. I没想到你还挺有远见的. I'll ask my brother to treat you better later. Pretending not to know anything, I sent her back to the string house. But as soon as we opened the door, Lu Ruyan turned pale with fright. Mom, what's wrong with you? As soon as the door opened, my mother-in-law was in the middle of the living room. The doors and windows of the house were tightly closed. After they had lived there for so long, the smell of formaldehyde was still very strong. I pinched my nose tightly, and immediately opened the windows for ventilation. Then I pinched my mother-in-law's hookoo point and philtrum. Finally, I woke her up. My mother-in-law only felt dizzy and sat on the balcony for a long time before she recovered. Lu Ruyan went to pour water for her. As soon as she turned around, her nose started bleeding. I was a bit surprised. I didn't expect that the two of them had deteriorated to this extent. I scanned the string house, and found that Lu Ruyan had really added a lot of formaldehyde, releasing items to this precious house. The cheap white desk in style was actually made of density board, the king of formaldehyde emitters. The colorful wallpaper and wall fabric in a simple style, when adhered, used a large amount of glue that would release formaldehyde. The clean and tidy wood, like floor covering, was spread all over, allowing formaldehyde to fill every corner of the house. I couldn't help laughing out loud. Lu Ruyan's classmates were really right. She shouldn't be a home decor blogger. She should be the champion of stepping on formaldehyde, releasing soft decoration mines. While stopping her nosebleed, I kindly reminded them that they should usually open the windows for ventilation. Lu Ruyan gave me a dirty look. What do you know? The netizens who understand feng shui said that for the house type we live in, we must close the doors and windows tightly, so as not to let wealth leak. TSK, what kind of netizens are these? They are simply the king of hell. Since Lu Ruyan believed them so much, why should I meddle? Anyway, I had already given my advice. It's hard to persuade someone who is determined to go to their doom. Not a few days later, as I expected, Lu Ruyan and my mother-in-law caused a big trouble again. She distorted the truth of the fight, exaggerated the facts, and only told my mother-in-law that she had been bullied. My mother In-law originally wanted to comfort her a few words and let it go, but Ruyan was being unreasonable. She said how kind I was to her, and that her own mother was actually not as good as the outsider sister. In-law. My mother-in-law was forced into a corner. In order to coax her, she actually went all the way to beat up those half-grown girls. Finally, she was detained by the police station. When I rushed to the scene, my mother-in-law, who had been like a wilted eggplant, immediately perked up. My daughter-in-law is a teacher at Shaoshan Primary School, the best school in the provincial capital. She has a wide network of contacts. You were yelling at me just now. Be careful. While soothing my mother-in-law, I asked the police about the specific situation. The police frowned and looked at me. You are her guardian, right? The mother is too arrogant. The victim's demands are detention and compensation. What do you think? I replied. I agree to both. Detain if necessary, and fine if necessary. Fine heavily to teach her a lesson. The police's mouth opened wide enough to stuff an egg. This kind of demand is really the first time I've seen. I laughed heartily. This is not only the first time. There will be a second and a third time later. When I came back to see my mother-in-law, she looked at me expectantly. It's all resolved, right? I said they bullied our Ruyan first. It's only natural for me to stand up for my own child. I pretended to be worried. Mom, Ruyan had a little fight with them. It's all just things among their students. It's not easy to handle when you, a parent, get involved. Maybe they will even punish Ruyan. My mother-in-law was a bit flustered. Why punish Ruyan? Ruyan is still so young. What kind of punishment could there be? I can take the punishment for Ruyan. This was exactly what I was waiting for. They have 2 demands in total. Pay 100,000 yuan to each of the 3 girls. Otherwise, Ruyan will have to drop out of school. My mother-in-law was so shocked that she slid off her seat. What? 100,000 yuan per person? I can't afford to pay even if I sell myself. And how can Ruyan drop out of school? I said unhurriedly. Mom, don't worry. I used all the connections I could. They said it will be handled as a public security incident. You just need to stay in the detention center for a month. You can eat and drink well in the detention center. What do you think? My mother-in-law heaved a sigh of relief. Okay. As long as Ruyan doesn't have to drop out of school, and we don't have to pay the money. Xiao Xian, you're really smart. I returned my mother-in-law a big smile and personally packed her luggage and sent her to the detention center. After my mother-in-law went in, Ruyan made a big scene with me. She just cried and said that she was useless and not as resourceful as when she was being a blogger. This woke her up. She cleverly fabricated a video that she thought could confuse the public and posted it online. She said that she was a student who came to the city from the countryside. She kindly invited her friends to her rental house to play, but was looked down upon. She accused the school and teachers of inaction, allowing students to carry out campus violence against her. Her mother stood up for her, but was sent to the police station by the evil forces. She asked the netizens to help her rescue her mother. What a great show of deep mother-daughter affection. In the video, her yellow and withered hair, sunken cheeks and listless spirit, which were caused by excessive inhalation of formaldehyde, really made her look like the tragic female protagonist of campus bullying. She also disclosed the personal information of the several girls who had fought with her on the internet, guiding her brainless fans to carry out cyber violence against them. The matter spread quickly. Campus bullying, combined with the sensitive topic of urban-rural differences, made the netizens stand firmly on Ruyan's side. Looked down on the blogger who was bullied on campus. She kindly invited them to her home to play, but they still looked down on the blogger. It's really disgusting. Leaving aside other things, it's very common for urban students to look down on students from the countryside. So I think it's very believable. I said why the blogger's mental state has been getting worse recently. It turns out she has suffered from campus violence. Woo, I feel sorry for the blogger. The clarification posts made by those girls didn't get effective exposure, and were scolded by the indignant netizens both at school and at home. Ruyan gained a lot of traffic and attention. She was addicted to chatting with people online every day, and never went to school again. Ruyan, who was used to being a do-nothing, called me to condemn me, scolding me for not taking good care of my mother-in-law and Ruyan. I easily countered with one move. Honey, I can't handle it. You'd better come back and deal with it. Besides, we need money to handle the relations here. Why don't you transfer some money back first? On the other end of the phone, he became furious. Money. All you know is asking for money. I don't want to talk to you. He directly hung up. Men are like this. As soon as you ask them for money, they immediately pretend to be dead. I quietly waited for the incident to ferment to an irreparable extent. Finally, an account marked as a die-hard fan of Ruyan, the home decor blogger, reposted Ruyan's accusatory video with real name, presenting a huge reversal. The owner of the Balal account was Ruyan's primary and junior high school classmate, named Limu. Ruyan's family was considered wealthy in the village, while Limu's family was poor, with only his grandfather and him depending on each other. Since primary school, Ruyan had coerced Limu, who had excellent grades, to do her homework for her under the pretext of being friends with him. In exchange, she would occasionally provide Limu with some material help. Limu sincerely regarded Ruyan as a good friend. However, Ruyan became more and more excessive. She even asked Limu to help her cheat in exams. The most excessive time was during the high school entrance examination. At that time, Limu's grandfather had a strange illness. Ruyan claimed that her brother had found a miraculous medicine in another province that could save Limu's grandfather, and asked Li Mu to exchange their high school entrance examination results with her. After Li Mu did so, Ruyan, who originally had average grades, was successfully admitted to a key high school in the provincial capital. But that miraculous medicine killed Li Mu's grandfather. When Li Mu went to Ruyan for an explanation, he was driven out by Ruyan and Ruyan. Ruyan was extremely arrogant, saying that she was a minor and her brother was promising, so she wouldn't be punished for anything she did. As for Li Mu, who had no power, no money, and no one to rely on, it was as easy for them to kill him as to crush an ant. Li Mu had no way to seek help. Instead, he saw Ruyan becoming a popular blogger on the internet. He lurked in Ruyan's fan groups, and behind every post, collected evidence of the unbranded advertisements Ruyan had endorsed and her unscrupulous promotions, and directly pointed out that Ruyan lived in a string, housed with high concentration formaldehyde. The reason why Ruyan's classmates didn't want to stay for long was just their physiological functions trying to save their lives. As soon as the real name report post came out, the situation was immediately reversed, causing a great stir on the internet, not only in terms of campus violence, but also issues such as the rationality of the high school entrance examination, venue setting in the Township Education Bureau, were trending on the hot search. The school, which was deeply involved in the public opinion, directly expelled Ruyan on the grounds that her admission grades were fake. The social media platform took back Ruyan's account. Those fans who had bought unbranded products recommended by her also severely scolded Ruyan. Now she was like a rat crossing the street. After the incident of her precious string, house became a big deal. The landlord forcibly took it back. Regarding the 3-year contract, the 3-year contract was signed with the real estate agent. What does it have to do with my house that is for short-term rent for 3 months? When she wanted to find that real estate agent again, he had already disappeared. She wanted to come to my place to hide. Even more sorry, I had applied for resignation since I was reborn. I only came to work these 2 months to wait for the new teacher to join and make the handover. She wanted to hide back in her rural hometown, but found that the house had been demolished. I really couldn't come up with the 300,000 yuan that was used to keep her school status. Of course, I had to use the homestead in her hometown to pay off the debt. Now, she had no money, no place to live, was expelled, and was completely humiliated. Ruyan completely broke down. She cried and called for her mother, making a big scene in front of the police station, and even assaulting the police. Finally, she Ruyan to Jin the police station to find her mother. When the matter reached this point, Ruyan could no longer hide in another city and be a coward. After he came back and bailed the 2 of them out of the detention center, the first thing he did was to curse at me and threaten me with divorce. He thought I was the same woman as in the previous life, who would be scared and obedient as soon as he mentioned divorce. He made a scene at the primary school where I used to work, making it impossible for my former colleagues to work normally. Unable to stand his extremely shameless appearance, I agreed to meet him. Ruyan was still arrogant, sitting with his legs crossed and pointing at me. You'd better apologize to me quickly. I can still consider taking you to see Mom and Ruyan. You should apologize to them sincerely, and let them beat you a few times to vent their anger. Maybe they will forgive you then. You'd better handle the house matter quickly. Who gave you permission to deal with the old house? What kind of contract is a woman signing? How unlucky. I was almost amused by his words. I really don't know what was wrong with me in my previous life. How could I have endured this family for 7 years? Let me tell you, Ruyan, my biggest mistake was marrying you and slaving away for your family. For 7 years. Who do you think you are? You want me to apologize to you? Have you forgotten how that shabby house of yours was renovated? When I married you, the outside of the house didn't even have tiles. It was just a red mud-tiled house. I spent money to renovate it inside and out. Now that I'm divorcing you, it's only right that I take back these renovations, isn't it? Your sister and your mother joined hands to bully others, and now they need to pay compensation. If I didn't sell your family's homestead, would you really let them go to jail? What a great son and a great brother you are. Ruyan slapped the table and was about to hit me. I dodged and he fell flat on his face. He said, his face red with anger. So you're the saint, huh? In the end, my mother and my sister still ended up in jail. I burst out laughing. I'm no saint. You'd better sign the divorce papers quickly, or I'll send you to jail too. Ruyan was shaking with anger. He thought I was just bluffing. He grabbed the divorce agreement I had placed aside and signed it. See, I've signed it, Xiao Xian. Let me tell you, I really miss you. I advise you to come back with me now. Otherwise you, a poor thing with no parents, won't be wanted by anyone except me. My heart sank suddenly. Indeed, people are only hurt by those closest to them. Ruyan and I were college classmates. He approached me first, saying he felt sorry for me having to do everything alone. After adding me on contact, he often appeared by my side. He brought me an umbrella when it rained, accompanied me to the hospital when I was sick, woke me up for morning classes, and reminded me to go to bed early at night. When he was chasing me, I didn't even have to twist the cap of a water bottle myself. He kept talking about how good he was to me, over and over again, brainwashing me until I thought I couldn't do anything alone, and that I couldn't live without him. Right after we graduated from college, he proposed to me. His mother seemed so kind. I thought I had met my Mr. Right. In fact, he said to his brother, a woman like this, who lacks love since childhood but is capable in everything, is rare in the market. I have to seize the opportunity early, and make her take good care of my mother. In his eyes, I was just an economical and practical item, Someone who could unconditionally take care of his original family in the rear, allowing him to have no worries and have fun with other women in other places. But I once really thought he had a little bit of thought about me. The pain I confided to him in the dead of night has now turned into a sharp blade he uses to stab me. Originally, I was living a good life alone. He had to come and mess with me. Now he still blames me for causing all this. Do they really want to devour me until there's not even a bone left? Dream on. I splashed a cup of hot coffee at him, making him scream in pain. Stop barking. I don't know if I'm in demand or not, but I do know that I live streamed everything that happened today to your wealthy woman over there. What do you think she'll do when she finds out you're a liar and not single? Ruyan's face instantly turned ashen. How did you know? I kicked him hard in the chest. You good for nothing. Go back and take your mother and sister for a medical check-up. They stubbornly stayed in that string house for so long. After getting the divorce agreement, I quickly submitted evidence of Ruyan's multiple extramarital affairs during the marriage and completed all the relevant divorce procedures. From then on, the affairs of Ruyan's family had nothing to do with me anymore. His dream of relying on a wealthy woman was shattered. He also lost his job and was severely beaten by the wealthy woman's men. The most seriously injured part was his precious private parts. He was immediately bedridden and couldn't move. I kindly advised him to take his mother and Ruyan to the hospital for a check-up, but he didn't listen. It was not until his mother vomited blood that they went to the hospital. Eventually, his mother was diagnosed with severe pneumonia and kidney failure, and Ruyan directly developed leukemia. The little money Ruyan had saved over the years was quickly burned up in the hospital. They tried to raise money for treatment on a crowdfunding platform, but their reputation was already in tatters. Some people donated the minimum amount of money, actually just to curse them. Cheating man, you deserve to lose your private parts. You'll be childless for the next several lifetimes. Evil old woman, you're reaping what you've sown. You're going to die, and so will your son and daughter. Formaldehyde bullying sister, you should have gone to the hospital long ago. You're a disaster wherever you go. Looking at these cursing words, I didn't feel particularly happy. I just felt jamfon. I was jamfon of hearing any news about the three of them. I packed my bags and planned to leave the city completely, but just as the car was about to start, a thin figure stood in front of the car. Sister-in-law, where are you going? Can I go with you? I didn't expect Ruyan to come out on her own. She was extremely thin, wearing a woolen hat, looking at me timidly. Her eyes were sunken in her eye sockets, like a big-headed skeleton. A wave of discomfort welled up in my heart. Ruyan had never looked at me like this before. When I hadn't graduated from college yet, Ruyan took me home. At that time, Ruyan was only 7 years old. She was very cute. Her big eyes were full of curiosity about me. She wasn't afraid of strangers at all. In the past, her mother-in-law really treated her well, making her extremely confident but also arrogant and willful. If she hadn't killed me with her own hands in my previous life, and watched with a smile how long it would take for me to die completely, maybe I would really feel sorry for her. But I had known her for 10 years, and had taken care of her wholeheartedly as her sister-in-law for 7 years, only to be killed by her. Like her brother, she had never respected me. She just thought that because I was an orphan, she could trample on me at will. She thought it was natural for me to be good to them, and their exploitation and use of me were actually considered as their kindness to me in their eyes. Just thinking about this made me gnash my teeth in hatred. Ruyan, I've divorced your brother. I have nothing to do with you, and have no obligation to take care of you. I directly started the car. The roar of the engine scared her to her knees. Seeing that I didn't budge, she took off her woolen hat. Her hair had fallen out completely. Her bald head was like a leftover marinated egg. Sister-in-law, I was wrong. I shouldn't have not listened to you. I shouldn't have lived in that house. It's all my own fault. But I really want to live. Sister-in-law, you're the kindest. Please save me. These words made it seem as if she also knew the outcome of the previous life. But if she had also been reborn and knew what she had done to me in the previous life, how could she still have the nerve to come to me? Some people are so despicable that they think everyone else is as despicable as them. My kindness has its limits. Unfortunately, despicable people are not within the scope of my kindness. I directly stepped on the gas and drove towards Ruyan. She screamed and crawled out from under the car. Immediately, a stream of foul language came out of her mouth. I laughed. A born bad person like her really couldn't pretend to be pitiful for long. Since she still had the energy to curse like this, it seemed that she still had a long time to suffer in this world. I drove away quickly and returned to Ruyan's hometown. But the person I wanted to see wasn't Ruyan. The person I wanted to see was my ally and family. The car stopped in front of a dilapidated tile-roofed house. Limu had already packed his bags and was waiting at the door. Ever since Ruyan said that someone online told her to close the doors and windows tightly in the string house, I had been paying attention to the netizens under her account, wanting to see which like-minded netizen was helping me in the dark. Finally, I found that under the same IP address, one of Ruyan's die-hard fans had been closely following her every move since she started her account. Even under Ruyan's 3 fake accounts, this person had changed identities and interacted with Ruyan enthusiastically. I suspected that this person knew Ruyan in real life. Soon, I traced it back to Limu. After exchanging information, I learned that it was Limu who had pretended to be a new classmate in the provincial capital and recommended the string house to Ruyan in the first place. Even that real estate agent was her only distant cousin. Without knowing each other's backgrounds, the real estate agent and I just by a little exchange of interests, had tricked Ruyan out of some money. We could be considered partners. Limu was a smart and tenacious girl. The only stupid thing she did was to agree to exchange high school entrance examination results with Ruyan, which ruined her own studies. But at that time, it was her only hope to save her grandfather. Limu said she didn't regret doing it, but she never expected Ruyan and Ruyan to be so vicious. Her hatred for Ruyan was no less than mine. She grew up with Ruyan and knew Ruyan's temperament better than I did. This string house scheme was a precise blow to the ambitious Ruyan. If I hadn't intervened in the previous life, Ruyan's ending might have been similar to the present. But once I intervened, there was one more interference, a wronged ghost like me. And it also made Limu have to rearrange the plan. Her maturity and stability far exceeded her actual age, making me forget for a while that she, like Ruyan, was also a 15-year-old girl. Looking at her, I couldn't help but think of my younger self. I grew up in an orphanage. No family adopted me, so I lived there until I was 18. As soon as I went to college, I met the wrong person and fell for Ruyan's sweet talk. I had never felt the true care of family until that day. I found Limu in the rain. Although she knew I was Ruyan's sister-in-law and thought I was there to arrest her, she still cared about whether I would get sick from the rain first. Drinking the ginger tea she brought out from the dilapidated tile-roofed house, I felt an unprecedented warmth. At that moment, I hugged Limu's thin body and cried bitterly. Limu was luckier than me. She had her grandfather to accompany her as she grew up. Limu was also more unfortunate than me. Her beloved grandfather died with grievances, and she was left alone. A person who has seen the sun, and then suddenly loses it is 100 times more painful than someone who has never seen the sun. I decided to take her with me to leave this sad place, to be her guardian and accompany her through the rest of her life. Limu agreed. We two orphans from different levels finally became each other's family. Limu got in the car and asked, "Where are we going?" I held the steering wheel tightly and told her gently but firmly, "Of course, we're going to a place where we can be happy." The end.